So here we are again, finishing up the starter installation.
Make sure it's all tightened up.
For any of you who have a Dodge Grand Caravan or a similar car that uses the same starter, just want to point out a little tip. It's got this metal plate that goes between the starter and I guess is it the engine? To the flywheel. There's like this little metal plate, and it's got 3 holes on it. You got to line up those holes. The problem is when you try to put it up in there, it falls out a lot. And I tried all sorts of crazy stuff. Nick's probably gonna say, "Oh, bad." I got so desperate I tried to super glue it, which didn't work, obviously, because it had grease.
Probably just some tape.
Yeah, and I tried tape. I didn't have masking tape, so I used painter's tape, but that still kept coming off. And then I tried using zip ties, which did work. But then when you got the zip ties up in there, you couldn't remove the zip ties because you couldn't get your hand up there to untie the zip. But then my wife, who was smarter than me, said, "Why don't we use thread?" Which was actually brilliant. So we went ahead and used the thread on it and tied it, and were able to get it up in there. And then when you screw it through, you know, the thread just breaks. So, speaking of wife, I've got to take a call from her before she freaks out again. Alright. So when you put these bolts and stuff back in, you want to make sure it's tight, right? Otherwise you get a loose connection and it may not start.
Yep, you'll hear a click and then it won't do anything else, and you know pretty much then that somewhere it's arced and it's not conducting like it should anymore. So, that's what it was doing, so it just needed a little tightening and cleaning.
What size is that screw down there, that bolt?
15 millimeter. So, and then the nut that goes on to secure the wires is a 13 that goes on that. You definitely want to make sure all the studs, the 2 studs that hold the starter in place, is super tight, just because you don't want it to shift or move at all, because then that will be broken teeth on the flywheel, or the sprocket on the starter will be all chewed up. Ground wires back up.
So the 2 ground wires go on the top bolt?
Yep. It's a tight spot to work, but got to be good and tight to make the connection. pliers so they don't twist around. I'm tightening it at the last little portion.
So if they twist it, it might make it so the connection's not as good as it could be, and then...
Yeah, it'll just bend them around and it might stretch them somewhere else. It comes down from the battery or it connects to the bottom side of the starter. And I'll tug on the wires to make sure they're not going to move or they're not against the exhaust manifold to burn a hole or melt. So that should be good. No more clicking or...
All right.
Right up.
Moment of truth, right? All right, so it's cranking and running fine. That's awesome. Are you just checking the connections?
Yeah, I'm just making sure they're on the wires.
Was it idling okay, or was it?
I think it's got a dead plug.
You think one of the spark plugs isn't firing?
Yeah, I think one of them's no good.
Probably number 4.
What makes you think that?
Or was that the one that wasn't firing before? Cylinder number 4, I think.
I don't know. You can see what it says. I don't know. Well, it hasn't ran long enough to throw a code. So because the batteries were disconnected for so long. So Walmart actually has a pretty decent code reader now for $20.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a Vantech or something. But you can't beat a OBD2 scan tool for a vehicle for $20. That's pretty awesome.
All right. So we're currently changing out the spark plugs.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't firing well.
Trying to narrow down the problems.
Now you're gapping them.
Yeah.
Now how do you know how much to gap it?
I looked it up online. So just with the year, make, and model, just put a gap for spark plug. And you put the engine leader. 3.3.
You had shown me one of the plugs you took out. It was like pretty bad.
Yeah.
What causes that?
Misfire, carbon buildup, just in general, there's a lot of things. So That one's not too bad. I mean, it's got debris and crap on it, but some of them were.
Pretty fouled up.
Yeah.
Like that one right there.
Yeah, completely black.
Wow.
Fouled up, a little residue.
Probably for me driving around like. Hey, please don't die.
Yeah.
What not to do.
Before I didn't see any of the wires arcing off any of the metal or anything, so plugs don't make a difference. And then next thing to do, I have a spark plug checker just for spark. I'll put the wire on it, clip it to a ground anywhere on the motor, and see if the coil is not firing.
Yeah, I think the coil was replaced recently.
Yeah, it looks like it was replaced. So
I thought they had done the plugs too, but I guess maybe not. Or I put all that goop on it since they changed it out.
get 11 Florida mosquitoes.
No, you just got back from doing your reserve duty, or?
Yeah, this weekend. I'll go all the way to South Carolina.
Wow. Is that where the base is?
Yeah, the little armory that I have for the aviation unit.
So you're in the Army National Guard or Reserve?
Army National
Army
Guard.
National Guard.
I'm working blind on the backside of the motor.
That's not normal, is it?
Got two in. Get this other one put in.
You didn't want to go in?
Always the back side too.
Is it going in?
Yeah. Slowly but surely.
Oh, so all the back are in finally?
Yes.
This is certainly going a lot faster than the back side.
super long plugs.
And you just put the plugs in by feel as far as how tight you go?
I normally do hand tight and then just a quarter turn.
Oh, you already put the rear ones on?
Yep. Do the hose. And you went to advance, and I looked at you stupid when you said PCV hose, huh?
Well, I went to two of them. I went to the one down the street, which is, I guess, discount. Then they couldn't find the hose, but I bought the plugs from there. I also bought some tape, if that helps, some electrical tape.
I need a pair of scissors, possibly, to cut
Yeah.
this down.
Let me get the scissors and I'll be back.
Alright.